Good afternoon, Thursday, May 29th, back in House Transportation Committee of Conference on S.123. Ledge Council has put together, I think, our report of Committee of Conference, and I think they're going to walk us through sort of a summary from where we met last time. And I think we have a little bit of language to make sure we review and any other final questions, and then we may be at the end close to signature. Thank you for coming back up the long flight of stairs to join us again. And with that, Damien, we'll throw it over to you.
Okay, so your first changes from what I'll do is I'll just take you through. Let me back up. I'm Damien Leonard, Legislative Counsel. I will take you through the changes from the as passed the House, and I'll also flag where you've changed from where you've made gone back to the Senate version or something like that. So I'll try to keep track of everything. First one is Section 9. This is where you took the Senate's reduced fees for individuals receiving SSI or SSDI with a 1-year delayed effective date. So this is a July 1, 2026 effective date. The next changes from the as passed the House are, sorry, the document's so big that my computer is slowing down. Yes, I think so. It's just taking me a minute to scroll down there. Yes, technical change in 17, right? In the very first line of subsection A, we added an A, the word A before non-driver identification card. And in 18, Section 18 is where you shifted from the language that passed the House and the Senate to the changes recommended by the Department of Motor Vehicles to ensure that we're clear that we're complying with federal law as well as continuing state practices. Section 19 was where the Senate had switched to the House with the 2 brief updates. So that kept the House language.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What was the one you just said, please?
Section 19, the outreach and updates for the early renewal of licenses. The House had added updates and a few minor wording changes, and so the Senate adopted the House version.
Thank you.
Next changes. I should have just printed this document out. Easier.
33.
Yep, I think so. Just stuttering through my computer to get there. So in 33, actually, I don't see any changes in 33.
Oh, it's 33 NA on your.
Oh, yes. So 33 in the House version or in the Senate version was taken out in the House version, and you've left it out. Thank you. The next is in the purchase and use tax. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Senate receded from its position on vehicle window tinting. And so those sections are out of the final draft.
Is that 37?
It was going to be 39, 40, and 41. They're now gone. So they're shown in your side-by-side, but not in the actual report. And then the Senate accepted the House proposal for the motor vehicle purchase and use tax report, which is section 40. And then the Senate accepted the House proposal for the allowing bicycles to cross when the walk signal is on with a 1-year delayed effective date.
Can you just go back for a second? What
Yes.
section 40, what was that?
Section
So that's
40.
the motor vehicle purchase and use tax and inspections.
We need that for a study and.
That's right, okay.
Yeah, for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then in 41, like I said, that's the bicycle being able to cross the intersection when the walk signal is on. That was accepted by the Senate with the change that it is a 1-year delayed effective date, so July 1, 2026. And then 42 is the House bicycle control signals language. 43 is the House outreach language. 44 is the House's intent language on legal trails. And then 45 is the legal trails language that was in the Senate version of the T-bill and the House version of the motor vehicle bill, with the modification to the definition of trail and a delayed effective date of April 1, 2026. And then your next changes are in the effective dates. So the early renewal of operators licenses is effective on passage. As I mentioned, oh, yes, ma'am.
Question in section 44, the trails where we put on page 58, the very last
Mhm.
phrase. That is not part of the effective date of April 1, 2026. Is that a problem or is that okay?
Sorry,
Say that one more time.
the maintain trails.
Because it's an intent. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
the intent section can be
Doesn't
effective
need it.
on the normal date. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. So early renewal of operators licenses is effective on passage. Legal trails language is effective on April 1, 2026. Reduced license fees for individuals receiving SSI and SSDI and the bicycle operation when the walk signal is on are both effective on July 1, 2026. And everything else is effective July 1, 2025. Let me just check my side by side to make sure I didn't miss anything. There were a couple others here where the Senate accepted the House proposal. So section 12 here, I can't remember if I mentioned that. Yeah. Get there. You guys don't have anywhere to be, right?
That was the very first one that that was the lowest hanging fruit when we first started.
Yeah, yeah, that's the clarification.
Oh,
Vehicle weight.
Vehicle weight and vehicle defect violations.
vehicle weight ticket.
Just
Yep. Yeah, that was a technical one. I think we have gotten everything else. Yes, that's it. So otherwise you were the same. So that is your committee of conference report. Any other questions?
And we go back to where we left off on the trails, the pursuant to the provisions of this chapter, and just make sure it says what we think we all agreed to. And I'm not saying you have to explain it all to you again. I just want to make sure that we had a couple different options or two different options, and we picking the one. So the top of page 59.
Yep. So
The trail means what? Municipalities have the authority to exclusively or cooperatively maintain pursuant to the provisions of this chapter.
Right, and so the pursuant to the provisions of this chapter, the intent of adding that language is to show that you're cross-referencing the authority you've given later on in the chapter, or that you've clarified later on in the chapter. And so that, like I said, you don't need to provide the authority in the definition, but by adding in the pursuant to the provisions of this chapter, you're making clear that you're referring to the authority that's clarified in 302 and 304 of the chapter, sections 302 and 304.
Like state highways versus.
Right, so it's a little different, and it's making clear that that this isn't a question of whether the municipalities have, whether there's disputed authority. We're saying pursuant to the language in this chapter, these are the trails we're talking about. So.
Are there any questions? Are there any announcements? Seeing none?
I have a comment. I really appreciate, Damon, how you do the effective dates, because some others will just say the number of the section, and this is super, super helpful. So thank you for the.
Well, I can't take
detail.
credit for it. I used to be a numbers only person.
Okay,
My predecessor in this role did the descriptive statements, and I adopted that when I took over the role,
well, thank you.
because it seems like a good practice that the committee's like. So you can thank Anthea for that. She was an exceptional attorney, so we were lucky to have her while we did. So.
Did we sign?
Yes. Do you have a clean copy for us to sign, or I've been scribbling all over my.
I haven't touched mine.
Hey.
Otherwise, I can run one off, but if we have a clean one there.
We are all agreed to go ahead and sign it on, make a motion and all that good stuff.
Any faces or anything.
So does that go from me to you?
It goes from you to me.
Okay. What is that, Barry? You're not hearing none?
No.
Do we get a mug or something?
I think there's some leftover scones.
That's right. I want something not edible.
There are a few emotional support pickles
I know.
lying around.
Full Vermont Transit bus.
Yes, that is a cool bus. Those don't exist in.
Not like that, huh? Vermont Transit, Greyhound? No, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Herb brought these for you, right?
Yeah, that's retro.
Herb Russell?
Yeah.
Up there, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thing in those rooms, the fridge though.
Yeah.
A nice fridge.
That's what he's like. Yeah, that's good.
We do have a little.
Story comes together.
Indeed. All right, so I guess I gotta head down to the clerk's office. And
Thank you. Don't we shake hands?
Yeah.
Are we gonna reach across the table, or are we gonna?
I can read it. Everybody else. Thank
You
you.
don't want longer. Bill and I are good. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's not an education.
Right, yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
All your diligent note taking has gotten you onto your first committee.
I think we're.
Thank you for your work, sir.
Okay, nice. We already signed, leave. We gotta.
I guess we are